welcome to another episode of Lip Service, where we talk all things lipedema. I am just shy of my 14-week post-op mark, and I feel like I have stuff to tell you, and I also feel like I'm very much status quo. So let's just get started, shall we? So quick rundown from where I last left off. I'm still having the issues in my legs that I had mentioned in previous episodes, where I have that weird ropey feeling all running up my IT band. I still have that really hard, like unmassageable, super painful area that is right above the inside of my left ankle. And then I also have that giant lump that's coming off of my leg, which I had mentioned way back, like right after my surgery, that my doctor was thinking it could be what is called third spacing, where the fluid is just sitting between the tissue and the skin itself, kind of with nowhere to go, right? So I am still experiencing those areas of trouble and having pain associated with them, or just like annoyance, because I do not feel like they are getting better. So that is what is exactly the same. What is a little bit different than my last checkup is, well, a checkup with you guys, not my last checkup with the doctor, because a lot has changed, but it was, I would say a month ago at this point. I was right around Memorial Day, and on and off, like throughout the whole weekend, I was having super sharp pains behind my knee, but it didn't quite feel muscular. And there was nothing that I did that was like out of the ordinary, like it pulled a muscle or did anything, but I knew just something felt off. And so it came, it went, okay, no big deal. It is what it is. And then I went back to work on Tuesday, and I was totally fine, like completely fine, no pain, whatever. I'm driving home from work, and I'm like, holy shit. The pain now moved to the right side of my knee. And then, of course, like I started feeling like weird spot in the upper left part of my back. And I'm like, all this shit. I'm like, oh my God, please do not tell me that this is a blood clot that now dislodged and is traveling through my body, because I was in the middle of traffic heading home, and I'm like, is this the end of me right now? I have no idea. Like, you know, I was like super nervous. So I immediately reached out to my occupational therapist, who I have mentioned before, but she is literally my lifeline. She is my emotional support human when it comes to all things lipedema, and my mom. And I'm like, WT fuck, like, what do I do? Should I go to the ER? Should I go whatever? So my occupational therapist was like, you know what? Brigham and Women's, they do have some urgent care facilities, and they do have ultrasounds there. So it would be your best bet to try there. Well, I called both facilities before I actually drove all the way out there. And at this point, it's now 6:30 at night. They're like, no ultrasound tech is here. Your best bet is to go to the hospital. So I was like, okay, fine. So I had my two choices within the Brigham and Women's network, and I did not go to the main campus because I called and they're like, we don't give wait times, and there's about 10 people in front of you. So I decided to go to Faulkner Hospital, which is where I do see my OT, and then during clinical hours, I do see my surgeon there. So I was like, smaller hospital, I'll probably get in and out, no big deal. I get there at around like 7 o'clock at night. The intake was pretty quick, going through paperwork and, you know, all the vitals and all this stuff. And then I sat there, and I sat there, and I sat there, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do an ultrasound and check to see what's going on and see, you know, if there's any problems, whatever. So they did a different kind of ultrasound that I had back in May, I believe, end of April, beginning of May. And the ultrasound tech was like pushing so deep, like into my legs, but she did my entire right leg. And then she did from my groin to my knee for my left side, like did not go from my knee to my ankle, because I was also curious to see if she could see any updates because of the hardness that I'm talking to you about. So it is what it is. And then I saw the doctor only once, and then it was the PA that came in the rest of the time, and they were like, so good news is you don't have a blood clot, but you do have a 15.4 centimeter hematoma. And I was like, well, isn't that just fun? It was like a little surprise treat that I have been talking to my surgeon about for like literally for, at that point, it was what, like 12 or so weeks maybe 11 weeks, just shy of 11 weeks. Yes. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? Because I'm like, this is the giant, like, weird lump that I've been talking about on my leg that's super numb when I shave my legs and is like really fucking weird. And I do not like it. So they're like, yeah, you have a hematoma. And then so that happened. I got the results on the portal at like 9:45, and then they didn't come in the room till 10:45. They're like, great, so we have your results. I'm like, yeah, I know, I read them an hour ago and nobody's come in since. And they're like, okay, so we are a little concerned because it's all these weeks post-surgery, and while hematomas happen, you know, it's kind of like too far out for you to still be having one, and we're a little concerned about that. So we need to call a plastic surgeon that is on the main campus, that is on call. So they did that. They spoke to a resident who then needed to talk to somebody higher than that. And I was like, yeah. So I ended up leaving the hospital. And if you guys are on Threads, you would understand when they write hospital. I left the hospital at like, what was it, 2:30 in the morning? Something like that. Something ridiculous. No, actually, no, maybe it wasn't that long. Was it that long? I don't know. Anyway, I was fucking screwed because I was so tired. I'm like, I cannot believe that this is my life right now. No, maybe actually that was a lie. I think it was 12:30. I should have like better prepared to tell this story. Yeah, I left like around like 12:30. I think got home at like 1 or something like that, and then went to work the next day. And so I've been in a lot of pain, unfortunately. And then like, so that happened. And then the following week I went to go see my surgeon because they recommended I reach out to him and to my PCP just to like fill them in on what's going on, right? So I literally look at him and I was like, dude, I want to be a testimonial on your website, but I'm not feeling really testimonial right now. You know, and he gets my sense of humor, but I'm also like, I was on the verge of tears a couple of times and I was just super frustrated. And I'm like, you know, honestly and truthfully, I was not in pain every single day in my calves. Like I learned to deal with it, and it really wasn't super painful. When my legs had swollen up like crazy and my skin felt like it was going to explode, that's when I was in pain, right? But my calves weren't an everyday thing. And still to this day, and when I told him a few weeks ago and what I'm telling you today, I have been in pain every single day since my surgery. And I'm like really, really just getting tired of it. And I do want to honestly paint like the truthful picture, and I try to have a really positive mindset about things, but it has been super challenging for me. So that was like really tough, and I've seen my occupational therapist once since then, but unfortunately with somebody stealing my 5 p.m. slot now, I don't have an appointment with my OT until like towards the end of July, just because I have so many things going on, and like the way that the schedules are aligning, I really can't get in any sooner, unfortunately. So it has been a bit of a challenge, just, you know, trying to maintain life, really. Yeah, so that was challenging. The exhausting ER trip confirming I do have a hematoma. Went to go see the surgeon, and he's like, I swear to you, I'm literally taking you seriously. I can do another like MRI or CT scan or whatever he had recommended, but he's like, it's just going to tell me what I think we already kind of know, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take any action. So I figured, why am I going to put myself in a position to do continuous testing if we're not taking action? And I'm really been sick of like going to the doctors, going to OT, having all of these things happen and just be in pain. And I was like, I gotta take a break from it, truthfully. So that's what I've been doing. And then, you know, just still trying to maintain like doing the vibration plate, even though it says hematoma, you probably shouldn't do the vibration plate, but I just feel like overall I need to do it. I've still been wearing my compression garments, trying to do MLD, you know, all of the things that I'm supposed to be doing, trying to get up and move around and all this stuff. So I would say it was like maybe 2 weekends ago. Yeah, around like 2 weekends ago. It was like 90 something degrees here in Boston, and I was super, super hot. And I was like, you know what? I am not going to wear any compression today. I'm going to let my legs be free and like just naked to the world, even though I was fully clothed. But I was like, I gotta take a break from him. And I will tell you, my legs hurt a lot at the end of the day. So I was like, okay, I knew kind of like what to expect and how to manage it. And then the same day, so that was a Saturday and Sunday. And then again, Monday, I'm in air conditioning all day. I was like, I'm going to just put my compression back on and whatever. So my legs filled up, swelled up pretty quickly. They were in pain. That was fine. I managed it. I'm like, okay, I just know I need to continue to wear compression. That is like the number one thing. Well, last weekend, I was in New York City. I took my niece, and she and I, between like 2 days, had walked over 10 miles, which is the most activity, truthfully, that I have done since my surgery. I haven't traveled anywhere. I haven't done like anything really outside of just like trying to relax and have my body recover. And the first day is like when we walked the most, and we got back into my car, and I just felt it like in that weird ropey part all in the IT band, and I'm actually feeling it right now, and it's just like so gross. I really felt it, and I'm like, holy shit, it just felt like it was burning, and my legs are just like so full and all this stuff, because what has been happening also recently, because it's been so hot, is I'm wearing compression socks, not the full leggings. So I was like, okay, maybe that's the reason why. I gotta chill a little bit, whatever. So again, still keep wearing them. And since I've come back from that trip and how I was definitely like in hot environment and wearing different compression than probably I was supposed to and all this stuff, the last week has not been the most pleasant. I've been in pain. I feel super swollen, and I can feel it in my body that I'm holding this much weight, right? So I weighed myself this past Friday, and I was like, holy shit, I'm up 7 pounds. Yeah, 7 pounds of fluid. I know that's exactly what it is. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I decided to go ahead and just wear my full compression leggings, again, underpants that I wore to work. And I was in excruciating pain. And these are brand new leggings that are supposed to make sure that the calf is tighter. So they're still the ones that like cut me off and I can't breathe. And I'm like, hi guys, here's my next episode. I can't, because they're so tight. So it's one of those pair, and I'm used to them and I feel fine. And then I just actually didn't at all. I was like in so much agony at work all day long. I came home and I immediately took off my compression and put the new socks on. I got like off the counter, like over the counter, I should say, like round knit compression that my OT just ordered me as well. And first time for wearing both the new size in the full compression and these new socks. I even wore them to bed. And then magically, boom, I wake up and I'm down 2 pounds from what I was the day before. So I can honestly feel all of the fluid in my body right now. And I feel like shit. And it's been a really rough few weeks. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if it's being exacerbated due to the heat, or it was because I was moving around more, or what is going on. And I know my body is really still trying to heal, but it has been challenging. And I just saw a few friends today, and I haven't seen them in person in a really long time. And they're like, oh my God, how are you feeling? Like, I've been seeing your journey on Instagram and what's happening. And it's like, it's so frustrating to be like, hi, I'm like almost 14 weeks post-op and I feel like I'm still in so much pain. Like, why did I do this to myself? I know it's going to take time to truthfully feel better and be better and all this stuff, but I'm still in this weird like limbo state of like, I still feel like shit. So it's tough. And I talked to my OT who has a couple of patients that are similar age range and just, you know, lifestyle and everything. And she told me that their bruising actually lasted longer, but their swelling has gone down significantly. And the caveat to that is they're all on GLP-1s. I am not. And so I was talking to a friend today about peptides and different, you know, GLP-1s and all this stuff. And I'm still very much hung up on if I want to enter that arena, because everybody's like, oh my God, it did wonders for my inflammation, and knowing that I'm like in the chronic state of inflammation throughout my whole entire body. I'm like, is it worth signing up to do GLP-1s? So I don't know. I have a physical with my doctor on Monday. I'm going to talk to her, see what her thoughts are. I already talked to the endocrinologist. I told you guys back in like early April. So I need to like kind of unlock that as being my next step. And all of that to say that 2 weeks ago, my surgeon put in the authorization for my next surgery on a Friday, and it was approved on Wednesday. I could not believe how fast I got the approval. So I am locked in. Second surgery has been approved. I see my doctor on July 7th. So now it's the next steps of just figuring out my schedule of when I'm going to be able to get the surgery. So more to come on that. I'm sure I will have more to catch up with you guys about this journey. I am alive. I am doing well. You know, I'm just trying to take it easy, but also be active at the same time. And I just feel like I'm in this vicious cycle. So if anybody has any good like tips of what I should do besides amputation, I welcome it. But just let me know. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I will see you guys on the next episode of Lip Service.